And welcome back. Today we are looking at the V19 Torrent. These just came out, so there's a couple here that we are going to get into. They've just released, so we're going to get into them. 567 pieces, not a lot of pieces, but it is an interesting build. Now I will say I have yet to get a V19 Torrent, so in that regard, I want to say the old one that had been released before was a larger set. More pieces, bigger. I think the engines were maybe a little bit bigger. I'm not 100% certain. Just kind of throwing it out there that, again, with a lot of the newer sets, we seem to get smaller builds, which is fun when you can put them next to each other and kind of compare it, so you really get to see what we have. Now, there are 5 bags to this. Now, I put this together while I was watching a movie, so you can criticize me for that one. And there's things where I'm kind of going through and I'm just not seeing everything at the time, and then it all kind of snaps together later on once we get all the wings and everything else on here. The nice thing is yes, our wings do come down. We do have some Technic pieces here, so that way it prevents the wing from going too far. It kind of stops it there, so it has that nice downward trend. Now, I think a lot of people on the V19 Torrent really don't care for that back wing. Now, I will say, if as a actual role-playing game sense or whatever, if you were to cut it off, modify it, whatever, change up the engines, not a problem. That, and I want to say, I believe, now these I did put on a little bit incorrectly. I have them up and down. They're supposed to be kind of angled in, and it's off center a little bit here. So that's on me. There were not very many stickers for this. I think it was like 6 in all. And actually I can show you right here. So we did have the kind of precursor to the Empire. I mean, the old Republic kind of military symbol here. We do have this. This is red 4, and then we did have our stickers here, as well as one for our console here. So as our pilot is sitting in here, there is one sticker on the console, and I don't think I got that centered quite the way it was supposed to be either. Looking at our figure, now I believe he did come with a blaster of sorts. I don't know where I put it, but it is nicely printed on the front as well as on the back. If we take the helmet off, we do have a face here, so if you do want to give him hair or something, we could easily do that. Not a big deal. And it is nice printing and all that on the helmet. So not bad, really, in all regards, at least in my view. Again, I do want to say I think that this is a little bit smaller version of what we had before, which for me is not a big deal. The price-wise, it is a little pricey for 567 pieces. But, as they got to pay for the licensing and everything else. If it's something you really want to get, yes, go ahead and get it. Now, some of the things that weren't clicking on. Now, we do have a little grabber right here, and we have a rod right here. And it didn't click in initially for me at the beginning, but that flips around, and it does snap in there, if you just heard the snap. And it holds it in there pretty good. So it looks like it should. The nice thing that we get from Star Wars is a lot of different designs. This isn't a I'm working on something else, and I've got plenty of bricks here. More of a Star Trek, because Star Trek is rumored to be coming out in Lego, but we have a very set of rules of how we make things. I will say, when George Lucas doing Star Wars, there are a lot of off-the-wall kind of ideas on how to do things. And for that, it works. I mean, it keeps everything kind of fresh. You get to see different eras of how everything is built. So as we kind of go back and forth. The engines do stick far back here. Honestly, I don't really remember in the cartoon offhand how far back that actually had looked. But you know, for the sake of how the ship does look, it looks fairly nice. We have a couple barrels here to give it that kind of engine look to it, and it works out pretty good. Having the bricks here, our tiles kind of angled and all that, that works very nicely on there as well. We do have the shooters, which, you know, I've mentioned many times before. As an adult, I'm not a big one on the shooters, but it does sit right next to our cannons. And if I remember correctly, underneath here, we would have actually had a torpedo launcher. So I think it was only a single one, not a dual. So I'm just kind of going off of what memory serves me on this one, and I should have looked it up, but I really didn't. Just kind of, you know, busy with other things, trying to get other things all done in a daily basis and all that. So some of the things I should have thought about, but I just didn't. And really, I like the center on just what we're presented here. This is, you know, it's nice and solid. So getting this for the kids, if you're getting it for the kids, they love the Star Wars. Yeah, it's solid. It works pretty good. In that regard, I would say it's very nice for the kids. 567 pieces. I think it's long enough. It's going to give them the opportunity to put it together, kind of work with it a little bit here. It does sit pretty nice as far as being on the ground. Not a huge problem there. Kind of turning it around. Now, we don't have a droid. There's no astromech droid here, but we do have a cowling here that kind of covers over a little bit of our mechanics here for our wing that gets folded up. And looking at the back, we do have some green on the back, which, you know, it works. All of this really does work. It fits together very nicely in my mind. Not knowing what the other one was to try and compare the two of them, you know, that's just something I can't do. But taking this for what it is, not having one before, this works pretty well for me. You know, looking at the engines here, the third engine, our intake, that's our kind of thruster, the rear of the thruster, and we have the same blue on our thrusters here. And it all works together, giving it a nice, even flow. I think the designers had done a really decent job at this. Setting up and all that, I think trying to get a nice hanger together, I think this would fit really good. Getting a companion, I didn't get two. I only have one, seeing that these had just released. Hopefully I'll grab one when it's on clearance or something, and then I can have two of them sitting side by side, which would really work out very nicely. So hopefully in the future I will have enough room where I can have a lot of my starfighters and all that stuff just sitting side by side. Now this also launches at the same time of, we still have another set that was a Rebuild the Galaxy. So they're still kind of working on that series, which this works fairly well hand in hand. Now this is not going to swap around. And with that being said, I do have another set that I've yet to get together that we really need to get together, but we do have that available. Seeing that I have figures sitting here in the background, we can always get our droid here to kind of do a little bit of maintenance while he's landed here and kind of get everything all together. Now, obviously, we did this in one of our last Lego builds or whatever. Just a nice, small little build. And it works, you know, trying to get them here. You know, our treadmill droid trying to help keep our Republic fighters going. So we just go from there. Nice addition to the fleet. I don't know where I'm going to put this sucker offhand. I've got some shelves, and of course I'm starting to throw things on there already, and I've got to get these shelves moved yet. So it's just the fun and the love of doing all of this, but we'll keep it going. With that being said, thank you so very much for joining me today. It's wonderful having you here. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next video.